Hello, fellow builders, and welcome to the Mandalorian. I can't call it the Mandalorian helmet update anymore because they're both done. Well, that one, as you can see, is complete, and the first one actually has found a new home. If you want to see the conclusion of what happened to that, you're going to have to go over to Random Chatter and check it out. I had the privilege of being on Random Chatter last week. The episode is called Proper Props in Cosplay. And it was a blast. It was so much fun, and they actually asked me to stay over and do another episode with them where they were talking about their updates, and we talked about what we had seen. We talked about Winter Soldier, Falcon and Winter Soldier, and it was a blast. I'll have to say, it kind of I checked a box off. Let's just say that, okay. But you got to give those guys a look. Check them out. Random Chatter, great source of information for Star Wars information, and like I said, they've got a whole bunch of other stuff going on, DC talk and Marvel and just the whole gambit. If you're looking for the sci-fi, that's a good place to find it. But what did we get done? What are we going to do with this time? What are we going to do with this space? We'll have to figure that out. But to start off with, I figured let me tell you about some of the other things that I was doing, since we don't have like a specific direction. I got a message from one of my buddies on Facebook, who is a great builder. His name is Jeff, and he's got a couple of really good cosplays. He's got a Mandalorian. It's a World War II, World War One, Old War based Mandalorian that just came out great. And he also has a Ghostbusters 2 cosplay that he does. He's a great maker, and so he was wanting to do, being a fan of the sci-fi, he was wanting to do a Kuiil cosplay this year for Wonderfest. And so he's working on the costume. He got some gauntlets. The problem with the gauntlets were it has these little vents on them, and it was missing that detail. And so he asked if I could fire up the old 3D printer, Fusion 360, and bang something out for him. So, sure, why not? Why not try? Why not try? So I did. And it took two tries. Because the first time the picture I was working on was from Sideshow, and it was really tiny, and I didn't blow it up. And so I came up with my first attempt, which in its own right, if it were just a vent piece, I think it came out really well. But then Chris, one of my other guys on the page, said, "Hey, well, what's your source?" And I told him what I was using, and so he found another picture that he could actually blow up, which gave me better detail. And so then on my second attempt, I got a little bit closer. To be fair, Chris actually went in and had done one of his own, and it looked so much better than mine. I'm not even gonna lie. But by the time I got that done, I had already mailed off my prints to Jeff. So, but it was an interesting experience, and the more you use a tool, the better you get with it. So Fusion 360 is actually coming along pretty well. What we got here is the first step in my next project, which is the space station, the Alphabet Squad secret base is basically what I'm calling it. I'm still listening to Alphabet Squad, so I don't know if by the end of the book they're still together or whatever, but maybe it can be the mediocre modeler Star Wars sequence squad base. I don't know. Whatever. We're just gonna go with it. But the first thing I ended up having to do is I needed to figure out some layout. So I've got some pieces here that some of the tiles to figure out my size, how wide is it going to be. I knew how big of a shelf that I had, and my actual working space, because this is going to be the tiles. They're going to go here, they're going to come up, and then so here's my working space right here, which is just this section here. The next step was I didn't completely build the U-wing, but just to kind of figure out where I was, I ended up actually pulling out all the models and kind of laying them out. So the B-wing is going to go in this space. The U-wing is going to go in this space. And then got the Y-wing will go here. The A-wing, where did you go? The A-wing will go here. The X-wing will go here. And so that still leaves just this little itty bitty space. And I think that's going to be a doorway. I'm going to have to come up with a design for the back piece that's the doorway. So normally I would have used styrene, just laid the styrene out, blah, blah, blah. But again, Fusion 360, let's use some of the new technology. Step 1, layout. See what it's supposed to look like. Step 2, design. So I had to get the story straight in my head, and the story is that this is post Return of the Jedi, like maybe, I don't know, 9 months into it, and the Imperials are on the run, and they're abandoning their bases, and so we're capturing some of this stuff and repurposing their technology. So I had to look up, well, what do Imperial bases, docking bays, stuff like that look like? And I settled on, I like the opening, so it's got to be, the opening has to be big enough to where they need to be able to come in and land and take off quickly. That's why I laid it out. I wanted it laid out this way. That way, any of these people can just get in their ship and they're gone. Okay. I wanted to have the doorway have the light come down like the anti-gravity shield, the shielding. So for that, we're going to use LED lights. I have an LED 12-volt LED light strip that's going to go in this space here. But so I had to incorporate that into my design. Got my calipers and I measured how wide this was. What makes things feel Star Warsy? Angles. I like the angled corners on things. So the way this is going to be laid out, it's going to have on the bottom corners, you're going to have angles like this. It's going to come up. It's going to have angle. And there'll be a long crossway there. It needs to be wide enough to incorporate the LED light to go all the way across. Went into Fusion 360 and I came up with a design. In that design, I came up with, there you go. Basically, like that's half. So it's going to angle up, boom, across. Now, I have the ability to mirror everything in Fusion 360. So I only have to actually design half. I design half and mirror it, which gives me the whole. Sent it to the 3D printer, and it was just barely, this edge was hanging off the edge. And I got my first print done. And there it is. Now it completed the print. The programming completed because I have this huge mass of plastic. It's just, it did what it could, and that's what I ended up with. So I decided I needed to make it smaller to where it fit comfortably within the confines of my printer. What I decided to do was take about that much off of this upper edge, and 30 millimeters is what I took off. And so what I was going to do, I take 30 millimeters off and then make another top piece that's actually 60 millimeters. That way it would be a three piece, one center and then the other side. Set that to print, and look at what we got. Isn't it beautiful? Still have the raft attached to it because I kind of just got done printing it, but it's got the width, it's got the channel there, and the LED lights is going to fit nicely. Oh, sorry. Nicely down that channel. Now granted, it's got adhesive tape on there and it feels like it's going to be a little bit snug. I gave myself, probably should have given myself a little bit more tolerance in doing this, and I could actually go back into the design and reprint it. Yeah, see, but it does, it's a little bit snug, but it'll fit down in there. And if worse comes to worse, I can always get my X-Acto and maybe try and trim off a little bit of the edge. Or, see, it's holding good. Since this is going to be the face and that's the back side, I could maybe just trim off that back edge and let it hang back into the hanger bay. So that's going to go on there. The next piece we got was, I decided to divide the hanger deck floor into 3 segments because this was so long. I needed to be able to print these nicely. So 1, 2, 3. This piece here is going to mirror this because I've made a little cutout in this corner to compensate for that. Got that printed. And there you have it. I wanted a few features in here. The front edge here it's got a chamfer on it. It's got the notch for the footing. The footing has a hole so we can run the lights inside it. And I've already got the other piece mirrored in the computer, so that's ready to print, but I have the center section printing as we speak. You know what? Yeah. Oh, you know what? I think I messed that up. I did not make the center section wide enough on my print. Dang it. Okay, well, no biggie. All I really have to do at this point is figure out how short I am, and okay, let's take a step back. The nice thing about doing this on the computer is I made myself alignment holes. So I designed this, I put a hole in either side. When I mirror it, the holes are going to be in the exact same space on this end. In order to make the center piece, I just took this face, I copied it, and then I extruded it, I extended it out. So since there's already a hole in it, the hole is going to be through this entire centerpiece. This centerpiece is going to look like this without the little notch. That way I can put a metal rod in there and attach them all and know that they are in a straight line all the way across. So that's where we are on the design phase. What I'm going to do next is, while these pieces are printing and I can't do anything else, I'm going to go on ahead and get this part laid out. So I need to get a piece of MDF to these dimensions, and go on ahead and get my tiles laid out on here, and actually my supports on the back of this for this upper deck. So if we're lucky, by next Friday, we should have that done. We should be able to, I should be able to show you something physical by the next Friday update. So as you can see, for a week that I didn't think was very full or very productive, it was pretty full and pretty productive. I don't know what we're going to do about the Friday updates. We'll figure something out. If there's other ancillary stuff going on, I'll let you know about it. But at the same time, I like doing a complete one-day build video so you can see at least the stages of something being grown. And we're going to go from there. But until then, it's Easter weekend. Some of you had the day off. Hopefully you made this Good Friday a good one and you started to build something. You had an extra day. But until then, have fun, be safe, happy Easter, and go build something. All right? Pew 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 pew.